Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back. This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Markman. So, Young Thug dropped his new album, UY SCUTI, on Friday. I did a video on my thoughts on the album. One of the things that we talked about was the album cover, where Thug posed with blue eyes and much lighter white skin. Damn near white skin. And then he captioned his IG with, "If you want to be the biggest, go white." He also posted pictures of some of his collaborators on the album: Lil Baby, Mariah the Scientist, YFN Lucci, 21 Savage, Travis Scott, in whiteface as well, with the caption, "My new friends." And we spoke about this, right? I was just hoping there was maybe some creative explanation for it, even though we know that Thug has been known to just troll, right? And a lot of y'all laughed at me in the comments because I was hypothetically shooting him bail. I was like, we just wanted an explanation. I was just like, why did he do this? Like, is it since UY SCUTI is a star, is like he in front of the star, and the star kind of, the light from the star has him, just the picture blown out or something like that. I knew that wasn't the case. I was being funny, but I was just like, just what's the explanation? What's the reason? And then obviously we know Thug has been known to troll fans. Well, he explained the cover in a clip from the It's Up There podcast. The clip hit the internet on Sunday, and I will not be playing the video in this video. When I post short clips, when I posted short clips from the Big Bank interview into my YouTube, when I did a video on that, my video got claimed and demonetized. And then when I did my video on Drake's National Treasure, where I didn't use any audio whatsoever, I did that last week, UMG flagged my video and it got taken down. And I got hit with a copyright strike. I filed a counterclaim, we'll see, but I'm not embedding the video today. I'll just read Doug's explanation though, you know what I mean? I'll read it out loud. But first, please like, subscribe, comment, share. I appreciate all the support that y'all give the channel, all the support that you give me. So I don't take it lightly, so please continue if you can. So here's what Thug said. Here, I'm gonna read the full explanation that Thug said in this video clip about his album cover with the white face. He says, "I think it was just like some funny shit, but it's still like serious to the point where I went with it. But it's really just some fun shit, like some funny shit. In my hood, we always joked and played. I got a lot of white friends and shit, but we always joked and played in my hood. Like, shit, if you want to be the biggest, go white." So I get that's an inside joke between him and his friends, right? If you want to be the biggest, go white. And Thug continues. "And that's why I said when I put the album cover out, if you want to be the biggest, go white. We just talking shit. Because there's so many big black people. I'm one of them." Him meaning big, just black stars in the music space, I guess, and stars in general. So he says, because there's so many big black people, I'm one of them. I understand. We just, it's just the narrative that the world paints. And we just going with the narrative. You want to be the biggest, go white. Michael Jackson went white." That's a Thug quote. Then he walks that back a little bit. "We know that ain't true. Michael Jackson didn't. We just go with the motions. It's just all fun," is what he says. "I just did it on some shit like I want to be the biggest in the world. How can that be how can I be the biggest? How can you be the biggest?" He says the very first minuscule but first answer to that question, the question being how can you be the biggest? He says the very first minuscule but first answer to that question from anybody should be, you got to go white. These are Thug's quotes. He says, they always let the white people be the biggest. I love white people too, but they always let the white people be the biggest. We got big ass artists too that's black, but goddamn, it's just a narrative. I was just pushing the envelope a little bit. You want to be the biggest in this world, you got to be Eminem. So now he's talking about rap. You want to be the biggest, you got to be Eminem. You got to go white. I just put the white album cover out. I'm just talking shit. It's just all fun and shit though. I'm not with none of the political shit. We having fun. It's music. You shouldn't take it so seriously. It's not like we could make it out alive anyway. We all gonna die no matter what. So you got to choose to be happy and put in the world what you want to put in the world and a legacy you want to create for yourself. And that was his quote. That's what he said. If I'd have played you the video, he would have said that same thing. My viewpoint on it is this. when it comes to Thug. You can't make somebody what you want them to be. As a fan, as a pundit, as a commentator, we all have inside jokes with our friends, right? Things that's just for us. The guys that I grew up with, we joke about things that I wouldn't necessarily say on this camera or say on Twitter or say on Instagram, where I got a bunch of people following and listening. And that's not to be fake, but it's like everything ain't for everybody. Everything ain't to broadcast into the world. So we all have inside jokes with our friends, all of us, me, you. But when you have that big of a platform as Thug has, or even as big as a platform that I have, which it pales in comparison to Thug's platform, right? Like Thug has a much bigger platform. But when you have that big of a platform with millions listening and watching, you could choose to say whatever you want, right? You could choose to shape a narrative or reshape a bad narrative. You have the opportunity to do that. So, when Thug says, hey, the narrative is that basically white people are more successful, right? That's a narrative. He's feeding into that as a joke, but he could also choose to reshape that bad narrative and show us symbols and images of black excellence, right? But he didn't do that, and that's not everybody's mission in life. If it's a joke, if it's a troll, most of us who are watching, myself, most of us who are watching are old enough to not take it serious, right? If Thug says he wasn't being serious, most of us can be like, he's just trolling, whatever, and just move on, because he's not going to be like, let's just like a Killer Mike wouldn't do or say that, like a Nas wouldn't do or say that, like a Kendrick wouldn't do or say that. Immortal Technique, Dead Prez, Chuck D. I'm just going down the line of rappers, right? These are guys who are maybe more serious with their message, but that's not everybody's mission in life. So Thug's just saying he's joking, he's trolling it, and I think most of us could just write it off. A lot of y'all in the comments to my last video was like, I don't even take him seriously anyway. You know what I'm saying? But my hope is that the young people who are listening, who are still being shaped by what they see, what they hear, right? Who those bad narratives that if you want to be the biggest, go white, that they haven't quite adopted that yet. My hope is that they don't take Thug seriously. Like you 9-10 years old and you still forming your view of the world, and maybe that narrative hasn't set in. My hope is that they don't take it seriously. I hope that doesn't become a narrative that they adopt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying hard not to judge. Y'all know me, man. I try hard not to judge. I try to put myself in the other person's shoes. The fact of the matter is Thug is not who we're gonna go to for a political statement, right? It's like the old Dave Chappelle joke on 9/11 when he said when MTV won TRL called Ja Rule, and he was like, well, who gives a fuck what Ja Rule got to think at a time like this? Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, and there are a lot of rappers who do offer perspective, but you can't force the ones that's not in them, or that's not who they are, to offer that perspective. My hope is that you just wouldn't feed into the bad narrative, but what can you do? I'm trying hard not to judge, because even this weekend, Thug tweeted some pretty sad things. He tweeted and deleted a message. He said, if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't even care to live. Which is like, damn. Okay, that's what you're going through. And then he tweeted, a therapist can't heal this shit. So he's going through something and shit. I won't pretend to understand the ordeal that he has had to go through with that Rico. With the things that he's done. And there also is some accountability that has to be taken for the way his life has gone. But still, like, I can't imagine going through what he went through. But I can say my hope as a fan, as a listener, as a critic, as somebody in the culture, my hope with this album was that Thug was going to give us something reflective and give us as an important musical moment on the album than the moment he faced with that Rico trial. My hope was that the album was going to meet the moment. And there were moments on the album with that type of weight. There were definitely moments on the album with that type of weight, even though that didn't embody the whole album. There were moments on the album that felt like he was attempting to meet the moment or trying to meet the moment. That there absolutely was. But then you get things like the album cover, which distract from that. You know what I'm saying? It just totally distracts from that. And then you get that song Ninja, the Ninja song, where at the end he starts rapping the N-word with the hard ER. He explained his intention with that to Aiden Ross, of all people. I'm not going to play that video either. He called into Aiden Ross. And, you know, he basically said, I was just thinking, you know, all of my ops are N-words. And then with the hard ER, he said, all my ops are N-word, but he said the word. So you know, when Aiden Ross was like, well, man, what made you do that? And he was just like, all of my ops are, he said the N-word with the hard ER. So the bottom line is, and I know a lot of y'all know this already, we just not going to take the things that Doug says very seriously. You know what I'm saying? And part of my disappointment was in the hope that this would be a turning point. And it just wasn't, man. And so it goes back to my original point. You can't make people be something that they're not. You can't wish for people to be something that they're not. That's not his mission. That's not his mission. He's going to troll. So in other news, though, he did throw a free concert yesterday in front of the courthouse in Atlanta, the Fulton County Courthouse. He performed for about 15 minutes. And he told everyone to stop the violence in the city. He said Atlanta is better together and that he's pushing anti-gang. He said it don't help, it don't work, and it will always end bad. As a condition of his probation, Thug is banned from being in Atlanta except for specific events meant to promote positivity. So I'm not sure. I would imagine that this concert that he threw satisfies conditions of his probation to where he's to use his voice to push positivity. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that on paper, but I would imagine that this is part of that. So, you know, in the midst of all this, he did something good. You know, he got out there and told these kids, you know, to stop the violence and using his voice to try to curb this gang activity. Court ordered, but you know what I'm saying? I think that was a good thing. So, we could salute him for that. But the Thug thing is strange, man. The album cover is disappointing to me. I know it's a lot of disappointment to y'all because I read the comments, and then his comments was just like, "Hey, it's just a troll. Don't take it seriously." So, you can't make somebody something that they not. You know what I'm saying? And Thug is not going to give us that. So that's it. Those are just my thoughts. I'm gonna be back. I might do another video today. Bad Bunny was named halftime performer at the Super Bowl, and people are hot. People are excited. A lot of people are excited. Ooh, some people are hot though. We're gonna talk about it. All right. Till the next time though. Peace.